Hello, I'm Toby Fox from 1.5 million new homes, the local government challenge sponsored by Redloft and Hadley Property Group. So the government wants 1.5 million new homes built, and its key delivery arm in delivering that national ambition is local government, either as the planning authority, guiding the permission for new homes, or as a partner in a JV with the private sector, or in delivering homes directly themselves. So I'm visiting a different council every month to ask what works and what needs to change for councils to be able to deliver more homes. And one of the big challenges facing councils is the recruitment and the retention of the talent, the skill that it requires to deliver new homes. So I'm here in Hounslow with Pratima Sood from Hounslow Council to find out a little bit more about careers in public sector housing delivery. So Pratima, hello.
Hello.
Do you want to tell us a bit about what your role is at Hounslow Council?
So I'm currently Assistant Director for Housing Development Supply, and that includes delivering new council homes, working with private developers to secure planning permission and affordable housing on key strategic sites within the borough. And in addition to that, it's working closely with our asset management colleagues and our housing management colleagues to allocate these new homes as well.
Okay, and what does that mean to allocate the new homes?
To provide homes for those most in need who are on the council's housing register waiting for a new home, and making sure that we've handed the properties over, they meet fire compliance and all the other sorts of statutory requirements of new homes, and effectively pass the keys over to new tenants to live in a new home.
So you're going all the way from planning where those homes are going, all the way through to actually talking about handing the keys over to the new tenants.
Yes.
Fantastic. So what do you, it's a bit of a no-brainer, what do you love most about your job?
I think it's the end result. And it isn't something that happens quickly. It takes a long time. It could take 4 years from having an initial idea, having a piece of land, going through planning, securing a contractor, actually building the homes, and then once they're built, actually handing them over to colleagues to give to our new residents. And I think for me, it's seeing that journey. I've been fortunate enough to see that journey as well at Hounslow from start to finish, and it's providing a safe, warm, clean home for people that need it.
Do you find yourself walking past homes and thinking in your head, oh, that was one that I was involved in delivering?
So it's sort of when you're walking around the borough, driving around, it's, oh, I was involved in that one at planning stages, and understand, the difficulties that the developer might have had with local opposition from, various stakeholders, whether that's residents or politicians, and to see them sort of overcome some of those challenges and overcome, some of the policies that the council set, and actually see those new homes built is always an achievement. And it's, looking at the schemes right at the beginning and right at the end as well, and just following their journey has been really, it's rewarding to see I've had a small part in a number of different schemes within the borough.
But you were just sort of starting to open up on some of the challenges involved in getting those homes built. So what's the toughest part of what you do?
I think it is when you're on the ground and you're actually trying to build. And at the moment, we've got a number of schemes that are really struggling because they can't get a utility connection, for example. So whether that be electricity or water, and it's not just working the council trying to sort of build, it's working with all the other different stakeholders as well to get that end product. And often people think, oh, it's just a developer building out, and it's not. There's a number of different people that are involved, different skills, different industries to make something happen.
And part of your job is like assembling a jigsaw puzzle, like putting all of those different stakeholders in place so that they're all working.
And overcoming any sort of challenges that come our way. But, equally, it is rewarding to see something built at the end of the process as well.
Now, I'm guessing from the interviews that I've done so far that nobody told you that this job was available to you when you were younger. You just kind of discovered it. So what was your route into housing delivery?
So I did a geography degree and really enjoyed geography. And, one of the careers at the end of doing a degree was, you can go into town planning. Ended up doing a master's in town planning, which again was exciting. Always enjoyed sort of architecture, design, places, creating communities, and it felt like sort of the next sort of natural step. Always knew what a planner did, but more mainly from a development management side. So, household applications or developers submitting planning applications. And
so this is like someone wanting an extension.
Or wants to build a small house, or, a block of offices. So understood that side of planning. Never really knew about planning policy and a local plan and the planning framework until, I joined local government and started my career out in planning policy.
How did you join local government?
So I was fortunate enough to get onto a programme called Tomorrow's Planners. So it was a programme that was primarily from people from a BAME background, ethnic minorities, to get into planning. At that point in time, 83% of the planning profession was represented by ethnic minorities.
3%?
3%. And it was a great opportunity. It was an opportunity that provided me with a placement in the local authority, and provided the funds that paid for my master's as well.
Right.
So for me, it was a bit of a no-brainer. I knew I wanted to do town planning, so to get the experience and actually get my foot through the door right at the beginning of my career I was really fortunate. And I think it probably would have been harder if I'd just left university, gone away and done a master's full-time and then tried to apply for a job. It probably wouldn't have been the easiest profession to get into. And then I worked in planning policy, had a keen interest in housing policy as well, and then got the opportunity to do some estate regeneration. So came over into sort of the housing delivery role, missed my planning roots, so missed negotiating with private developers on like affordable housing, sort of missed the interaction with planning, and fell back into that through a housing enabling role. So a big part of my role was to, go into pre-application meetings. So these are meetings that planning officers have with developers before an application is submitted, to explain what the planning policies are, what would be accepted, what won't be accepted. And, that was the point where I would step in and provide advice around housing, affordable housing, and actually what the council's expectations were in terms of number of affordable housing that we'd want on every single scheme going forward. And that was, probably lots of highlights in terms of, being able to achieve 40% affordable housing or meeting the actual targets that the local planners set for schemes going through planning and getting to planning committee was always really rewarding.
And this is like a negotiation. So what you're saying is that, as I read it, is that the bit you really enjoy is negotiating, is sitting there looking someone eye to eye and saying, well, you want this and I want this, so how are we going to reach a compromise? Talk me through the sort of skills and the experience, how you pick those skills up to do that.
So a lot of it's around viability. So, the developer will say, I paid X amount for the land, I've only got X amount left to build, here are all my build costs, and, this is the quantum of affordable housing that could provide you. And it's always negotiating, well, actually, you can get to 40%. We might just need to play around with the mix that you've got on site. Or actually, I can accept something slightly less than 40%. However, I need to make sure you've got X number of 3-bedroom homes and 2-bedroom homes, 1-bedroom homes, and we need to make sure that you're meeting wheelchair requirements. So it wasn't always about the percentage of affordable housing you're getting on site, it's actually the quality as well. A developer might come to me and say, I can give you 40%, but they're all 1-bedroom units, and that doesn't create a place or a community. I need a mix of housing to meet my housing need to meet the needs of those households on our housing register.
And is this a natural skill that you've got, this ability to kind of negotiate and argue and haggle, or is this something that you've had to learn how to do?
I think it's something that I learned from sort of predecessors who were in the role, who were very passionate about affordable housing. So it was always very nice to work in an environment where people really believed in what they were doing. And I think a lot of it has been learned. It's not something that can be taught to you, and lots of that ambition sort of set out by our political leaders as well. So we're at the heart of the administration of affordable housing is really important to them and really important to planning committee. That gives you the confidence to be able to go and negotiate and get, our politicians, our administration, exactly what they want in terms of affordable housing.
So you mentioned learning from predecessors. How important is mentoring in advancing your career in local government, and how do you go about getting a mentor?
Yeah, so I think it's really important to have line managers who support you and, who you learn from and who are passionate about certain subjects. It's also important to have colleagues sort of outside of your area as well who help support you. I think in terms of mentorship, I got a mentor when I did the Future of London Leaders course, which was really helpful. And it was around sort of developing my leadership skills and, helping me understand, what my next steps were in my career. And they sort of help you find your next path and the journey that you're on. So
that's Future of London is an organisation.
Correct.
It's London only, but it's formed by local authorities in London to create the next generation of leaders, right?
Yes. Yeah. In this sort of regen environment that we work in. So lots of leaders that go on the course are from local authorities, or in planning, or in housing delivery, estate regeneration. So it's really nice to meet up with a cohort of people who are on the same journey as you, but equally for me it was like being able to have a mentor to help me develop my leadership skills.
So who is your mentor? Who are you going to give a shout out to?
Nadia Stone, who was really passionate about affordable housing, and a key player when she was at Hounslow. Other mentors have been sort of, ex-leader of the council as well. Councillor Curran was really passionate about affordable housing, and I think he drove that passion through to officers developing, affordable housing. So I think, again, being very lucky to have different people within my career helping me on that journey, and most recently sort of Peter O'Brien as well, who is bringing a wealth of experience to Hounslow and helping us on our next programme.
And you talked about the sort of career journey that you've been on. Think about that arc of your career, the speed of which your career has advanced. How does that compare with contemporaries of yours, with people you were at school and college with who were in other sectors?
I think sort of my contemporaries, I think we've all developed at a similar sort of level. Some of my contemporaries are lawyers and partners who, have done exceptionally well. Most have gone into sort of management positions. So I think it's, and even the cohort that I started out with in planning when I first started in my career, a lot of them have gone to be heads of service and directors as well. So I've been quite fortunate to be surrounded by people who've sort of, excelled in their careers, no matter what they've done.
Why is that fortunate? Because you talk to each other and support each other? Or?
Yeah, I think so. And, I come from a family where my sisters as well, who are excelling in their careers. And I think growing up, it was always, you work hard and you'll reap the rewards. And that's what we sort of tend to do.
So what advice would you have for someone who is thinking about what steps to take in their career? Maybe they haven't even started yet, they're at college, they're thinking about their future, or maybe they're doing something they're not that happy with. What advice would you have for them about working in the public sector housing delivery?
I think it's a really interesting time. So we've had 3 apprentices come through joined recently. So they've come through as housing apprentices. And obviously what we do in economic growth and regeneration is slightly different to, housing case work or letting houses and, dealing with sort of the people side of things. We deal with the bricks and the mortar. Yeah. But it was sort of, with them, I've sort of said to them, there's a number of different things that you can do in local authority. Yeah. Go through your different apprentices. I had one of my apprentices who said to me, Pratima, can I stay with you and, do my 2 years here? And I've said, no, I'd like you to go and actually experience all the different departments within housing, within local government, and then make a decision. Because actually, there's more to local government than just housing delivery or planning or, you could go and work in the communities team or the localities team. And I think that's what makes local government really special, because actually you can find a skill set and you can move around. And I've been fortunate enough to do that within my career as well.
That's a tough love approach, Pratima.
Yeah. No, I think it's really important. I think if you're at the start of your career, you don't want to regret having stayed in the same role and not had the opportunity and the experience. I think when you're an apprentice and you've got that opportunity to go and experience different things, you should take it, and then you make a decision. And it's not forever. These placements are for 6 months at a time. So,
Pratima Sood, thank you very much for your
welcome.
Contribution to 1.5 million new homes and getting them built. And so another episode of 1.5 million new homes, the local government challenge, sponsored by Redloft and Hadley Property Group, comes to a close. We're going to be back with more, but until then, if you like what you've seen, please click like or subscribe, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.